Hey guys, what we're going to do for this assignment is work on trying to figure out what the greatest common monomial factor is of a couple of expressions, a couple terms. And you probably did greatest common factor in middle school, but let's see where we're at with us now. So you have 50 u to the fourth, and then the other term is 30 v squared u squared. It should be u squared v squared. You know how we feel about not being in alphabetical order, but whatever. So trying to figure out what the common factor is, and there's two parts to this. You have the number, you have the coefficient, right? So that number, and then you have the variable part. So we got to figure out the greatest common factor of each one of them, and then at the end you'll have your greatest common monomial factor, the GCF of those two terms. This is going to come into play quite a bit in the next lesson, so we got to make sure we know what we're doing here. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do. A lot of you probably could look at this and go, okay, I know the common factor between 50 and 30. I know the greatest common factor already. But let's say you don't know how to do that. So here's one method you can use. All I'm going to do is I'm going to list all the factors of 50, okay? And then I'm going to list all the factors of 30. And I'm going to do it in increasing order to make sure we can find the biggest one. Okay, so factors of 50. I know one's a factor of every number, and the other factor is 50. I'm going to put it over here because there's probably a bunch of in between. 50, okay, so is 2 a factor of 50? Yeah. So I know it's 2 times 25. I know 3 is not, and if you don't know, you can always go, well, let's try it. 50 divided by 3. Oh, it doesn't come out nice. So that's not correct. All right. So 4 is not, 5 is. 5 and 10. 6 is not. 7 is not. 8 is not. 9 is not. Now we're up to 10 already. So this is all of the factors. 50 has 6 factors that work. So let's do the variable part. What we're going to do with the variable part is we're actually going to write this out. So u to the fourth means u times u times u times u. And we're going to leave that there for right now. Let's go down to 30. Do the same thing. List all the factors. So 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. 4 is not a factor of 30. 5 is a factor of 30. And 6 is the other factor. So I have just enough room. Good for me. I have just enough room for all the factors. Now, what I'm looking for, I have common ones. There's a couple. There's another one. But I'm looking for the biggest one. And the biggest common factor is 10. So that means that that's our numeric part. That's our coefficient for our GCF. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did down here. Same thing I did here for this. So that's u times u. I'm putting this in alphabetical order. V and V. Okay. So what do I have common? Well, I have this u and this u, and I have this u and this u. Can I take anything else common? This is u, this is v. This is u, this is v. The answer is no. So what did I take out of both of these? I took u times u, which is u squared. That is the greatest common monomial factor of 50u to the fourth and 30v squared u squared. Let's do the same thing over here, number 2. Same concept. I'm going to have 1, so this is 36. 1 and 36. So 2 and 18. I think maybe we're out of room. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. Oof. And then 6. I barely had enough room. So I got really lucky to do that. It's better to have more room over like I did over here because you don't want to scrunch them all together. You may have to erase and start over. And then I have x times x times x times x. Okay. For that one, now 28. I'm going to have 1 and 28. 2 and 14. 3 is not a factor. 4 is a factor. 4 and 7. And 5 is not. 6 is not. Now I'm up to 7, so I know I'm done. So common factor, I'm looking for the biggest common factor. Of these, it looks like my largest common factor is 4. And that's the biggest thing I can take out of both of those. So my GCF is 4, and then I got to do the variable part. So x times x, x times y. All right, so again, I have 1x, 2 x's, and I don't have anything else in common. I have x and y. It doesn't work that way. So I got to take x squared out. So that's what those are, okay? Now, I'm not forcing you to write all this out, but I think it's a good idea, especially if you're just kind of getting a hang of it. Like on 3 and 4, we'll do it without all of that. We'll just think about it. I'm thinking of factors of 49. Okay, so I know 7, and I'm thinking of factors of 35. 7 again, okay? So 7, I happen to know of these two is the largest numerical factor. Again, if you don't know where I'm coming up with it, just go like we did in examples 1 and 2. It takes a little bit longer, but you'll be okay. I can do the same thing here. So let's look at the x part. So I have 1x here, I have 2 here. Well, what's the biggest number I can take out of both of those? Well, I can't take x squared out of this one. I can take it out of this one, but I can't take it out of this one. So that won't work. But I can take x to the first because I have 1x here, I have 2 here, so I can take 1 out of both of them. So that gives me x. And then y squared, I got y squared here, y squared here. I can take y squared out of both of them, okay? And so that's how you can get that answer. All right, so in example number 4, 44 and 33, I think of the first thing that comes to mind is 11. And so what are my two factors? 4 and 11, 3 and 11. Oh, 11 is the largest or 11 is the largest factor of both of those. So I know I'm going to take 11. Now I do not have any variables here, and I have x squared here. Well, if I don't have any variables here, I can't take any variables out at all. And so I'm done. That's all there is to it. Okay, so greatest common monomial factor. You can take a look at those. Again, I'm not forcing you to do this part, but this may help you. All right. Okay.